everyone, welcome. I'm Zombie Kitty and welcome to another reaction video. So, we're returning to the Jigsaw blogs. I apologise that it's been a while since the last video. I know I said I wanted to do this once a month. Unfortunately, it just hasn't really happened. So, I'm going to try and get around to these whenever I have time, because the recording session for these particular videos are quite long. But we're up to episode 7, so the last video was essentially a big exposition video to do with the story of Jigsaw, the apprentices, and the last 2 videos were phone calls that Jacob left for 2 other people. And they basically said the same thing, like, you're becoming a bit too obsessed with Jigsaw and the return of all of these games. We found out what was in the box that was given to him right from the beginning of this whole series. And yeah, it does seem like he's becoming a bit obsessed with this. He's becoming a bit, he's like clinging to this. So I've said this throughout this series, but it feels like it is going to get to a point where he's going to end up in a lot of trouble and not realise it until it's too late. But episode 7 is called The Secret Jigsaw Games, so I don't really know what that means. We're going to do episodes 7 and 8, and then there's 2 further evidence videos that we're going to do in this reaction video. So yeah, let's go. 26th of the 11th, 2018. Okay.
Welcome back to
we're
Jigsaw
back.
Vlogs. I'm Jacob Walton.
This was the last. This is where he was with the last video
that I spoke to all of you about in my last video.
Okay, yeah.
The first game we're going to talk about takes place at the old abandoned Whitehurst Insane Asylum. And I bet some of you are probably wondering, wait, wasn't Whitehurst Asylum the home of that biological terrorist attack weapon that killed all those 60 kidnapped prisoners?
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
Yeah, no. Turns out it was a Jigsaw game the entire time, and the FBI and the police went out of their way to cover it all up from the public.
Is this from Saw 2?
Sounds crazy, doesn't it?
I can't remember what this is referencing.
For years, Jigsaw fans have received conflicting reports about Jigsaw survivors escaping Whitehurst Insane Asylum the very same week as when the government came forward and talked about a biological weapon that was used to infect and kill dozens of prisoners who were transported there. Thanks to the organ donor and several members of the Jigsaw Rules website, I now have proof that Whitehurst wasn't some biological terrorist attack. Turns out it was one giant Jigsaw game all along, and it's all thanks to this one person right here. Detective David Tapp.
Tapp,
this is the first film. Who was once in charge of the Jigsaw investigations, was put on medical leave and later discharged after a failed attempt in capturing Jigsaw, which resulted in the death of his partner, Stephen Singh.
Okay, I got really confused on what this was referencing.
On the Jigsaw case even after he was fired and became obsessed and hoping that it was Dr. Lawrence Gordon who was the one behind all the Jigsaw
so this is the first
attacks.
film.
Police will later find at his apartment several pictures hung up on the wall along with photos, documents, evidence, clippings, all believing that Dr. Gordon was a Jigsaw killer all along. Because Tapp was so obsessed with trying to catch Jigsaw over the death of his partner Singh,
Who are the others?
Jigsaw decided to create one giant game just for him.
There's Eric Matthews at the bottom.
His first part of the plan was to set up traps all across Whitehurst Insane Asylum. Next, he would need to bring in several convicted criminals from Detective Tapp's past.
Oh, this is cool.
During a monthly prisoner transport, individuals who were all wearing pig masks ambushed 2 buses. The first bus crashed into a tree when the bus driver claimed that they saw a child riding a tricycle in the middle of the road.
That wasn't a child.
But in reality, it was the Billy Puppet doll.
Yes.
The rest of the prisoners on board the buses were taken out by knockout gas. The bus driver and the prison guards were all tossed out of the bus, all unharmed, and the rest of the 62 prisoners on board were later taken to Whitehurst Insane Asylum to play their games.
Okay.
But based on the security footage from the bus, we can identify that one of the 5 pig mask associates was Zepp Hendel. Zepp would then head to the Gordon home to abduct Allison and Diana Gordon, while Dr. Gordon and Adam would play Jigsaw's deadly bathroom game.
Oh, this is still the first
Unfortunately, Jigsaw didn't plan on having Tapp save the Gordon family from Zepp Hendel.
Okay, I'll talk about my confusion in a minute.
Tapp chased Zepp out of the Gordon's home and followed him all the way to Whitehurst Insane Asylum.
Okay.
He was later shot in the chest by Zepp,
Yeah.
who then fled the asylum
really
and went
stupid.
straight to the bathroom game to finish off Dr. Gordon. But instead, he was killed by Adam Stanheidt.
Yeah.
Barely alive, Jigsaw manages to save Tap from his gunshot wound and prep him for his ultimate game. Now, because the FBI and the police went out of their way to cover up all the events from Whitehurst Insane Asylum, I have no photos or documentations to help illustrate this story to you all. Luckily, Jigsaw Rules member Violet Anderson has more on this. Take it away, Violet.
Hey everybody, this is Violet.
Oh, this
from
is weird being in
JigsawRules.com.
HD.
First of all, I would just love to thank Jacob for having me today. I'm
I'll have
very
to turn the
excited
volume
to
up
share
on
my
this
work
bit
with
because
you
I can't really
guys.
hear it.
I'm actually a computer graphics animator with one of the city's largest animation studios.
Cool.
And I've been a huge John Kramer fan for a very long time,
let me turn
very
this
many
up.
years. And every time I look over his work, his philosophy, his purpose, I always think about good versus evil. Everybody is capable of doing good and everybody's capable of doing evil. And although his work is very disturbing and vile and just not human, I truly believe that he tried to have some good come out of this. I know that sounds crazy, but again, everybody's capable of good and everybody's capable of evil. And so for years now, I've been trying to get all this information public. And we know that Jigsaw, Amanda Young, and a couple of others helped kidnap and orchestrate all these deadly games involving Detective Tap at the Whitehurst Insane Asylum.
Okay.
So now you have the FBI trying to cover everything up with these games like nothing happens, and I just think that's bullcrap.
Yeah, because there's some evidence left behind.
His work needs to be made public.
Like a little bit.
All this information, everybody deserves to see and hear. So I hope that the images I've created helps you guys understand the events a little bit more.
Okay.
So thank you guys again, and if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to message me. I am on Facebook, Violet Anderson, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one.
Yeah,
Thanks,
like
Violet.
in universe,
So
I
let's
feel
begin.
like she shouldn't have said
These
that
are the
because the
secret
Jigsaw
Jigsaw
accomplice couldn't
games.
find it. I thought we were going to see a little animation that should, like, in universe she'd done, you know. Okay. Another chemical plant. That's is that 3? Okay, Michael Tapp was in Saw 2 for the game of Saw 2, the actual video game. Because that's why I got confused, because I thought he was maybe referencing... Oh, there we
The
go!
game begins with Tap waking up in the reverse
Okay,
bear
never
trap.
mind. He does reference
Billy
it.
the puppet greets him to inform him about the errors in his life.
Oh, that's
such
cool
as
how they've
losing
done
his
this.
family, his partner, and even his own health. But Jigsaw decides to give him a chance to escape the reverse
Okay, that's
bear
a clever
trap
way of doing
and pursue
this.
him.
Of including the
Thankfully,
game.
Tap escapes the reverse bear trap and thus begins his game.
Yes.
Detective Tap then discovers that he is locked in Whitehurst Insane Asylum and that he and several others are being tested at the same
Yeah.
time.
Okay,
He
so it
also
was
finds
referenced
out
in the
that
first
Jigsaw
game at some
planted
point.
a
Cool.
key inside his body, and that the only way the kidnapped prisoners inside the asylum can escape is to retrieve the key inside him.
Yep.
So Tap not only has to survive Jigsaw's deadly games, but he has to fight off dozens of victims
Yep.
who have been trapped inside the asylum and had to get the key out of his body in order for them to escape. Luckily, Tap is able to fight off his first round of prisoners and make his way to save his first victim, Amanda Young. Yes, we know now that Amanda was working with Jigsaw the entire time at Whitehurst Asylum, but Tap never figured that out.
Sorry about my laptop.
Tap does manage to save Amanda from her game, but will later be attacked
I
by
love
Amanda
how
the
you've
Pig
included
Mask.
the video
The Pig
game.
Mask Man placed an explosive collar on Tap's neck, similar to Dr. Lynn Denlin's.
At the bottom it says pictures
This
illustrated
prevents
by
him
Violet
from escaping the
Anderson.
asylum. Being
That's
forced
really
to play by
clever.
Jigsaw's rules, Tap had to continue his search in finding Jigsaw victims. These victims include Jennings Foster, a cop who
Okay.
killed a homeless man in an accident and framed an innocent man,
Vaguely
Melissa
remember that one.
Singh,
Yeah, I remember
who was the
her.
wife of Tap's partner Stephen Singh,
Yeah, I remember her.
Oswald
I remember
McGillicuddy,
him.
a reporter whose motives were selfish and perverted for his own personal
His
gain.
puzzle was really annoying.
Obi Tate, a man who sought out Jigsaw to be tested.
Oh, Robbie's
And
one was
trust
kind
me,
of fun.
he will be again.
Yes, he
And
will.
Jeff Reinhauer, a man who was suicidal but was saved by Tap and Sing during their first encounter with
Oh, this
Jigsaw.
one was interesting. I remember
Tap
that
managed to
puzzle.
free victims such as
was
Amanda
quite a fun
Young,
one.
Jennings Foster, Melissa Singh, and Obi Tate. However, Oswald McGillicuddy was killed just moments after escaping his trap.
Oh,
Jeff
yeah.
Reinhauer was also saved by Tap. However, he committed suicide just 2 days later. One of the big revelations from these games at Whitehurst was the man in the pig mask.
Yep.
Tap managed to lure him into an electrical trap and kill him. And the identity of the man that Tap killed in the pig mask was this man right here. Brett Martinez.
That's
Looks familiar to some of you, doesn't he?
Dr. Warner's
Turns out,
lawyer, isn't it?
He's Dr. Gordon's
Yeah.
lawyer. Martinez was one of the 5 pig masks that helped kidnap all the prisoners for Whitehurst Asylum.
This bit's
The
a bit
other
different from
identities
the
of the
video
pig
game.
masks were more than likely considered to be John Kramer, Amanda Young,
Okay.
Mark Hoffman, and Zepp Hendel. So with Brett Martinez and Zepp
Yeah,
Hendel
Mark
both
would have
working
been
for
an
Jigsaw,
apprentice by this
it
point.
turns out it was against their will. Because when police did the autopsy of Brett Martinez from the Whitehurst Insane Asylum, they found poison in his system, which could have been cured by a simple antidote. So in other words, both these men were forced to do Jigsaw's bidding against their will.
Yeah.
After hours of escaping death traps, fighting off prisoners, Tap makes his way to his final test. Jigsaw wanted to prove to Detective Tap that his obsession with catching him
That
has affected so many
puzzle's an
people's
absolute
lives
pain.
for the worse. And if you don't believe me, just listen to this tape to prove
I hate
just
that
how
puzzle so
obsessed
much.
with Jigsaw Tap was.
It's Jigsaw. Who is Jigsaw? The question rattles around back and forth.
I think this is from the video game again.
In my brain. The Kramer is the best bet. He would be the killer.
Okay.
But what about Amanda? No, Baxter.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. He had the pendulum trap, right?
Makes sense. Who is Jigsaw? Who is Jigsaw?
Poor bastard.
I mean, yeah, that's an
Tap was given the
understatement.
choice. Either free himself and everyone in the asylum, or to continue to find out the truth and try to catch Jigsaw.
Oh, I
Tap
went with
made
truth
the
the
choice
first
to
time
find
around.
out the truth.
Yeah, I went with
And
truth
in
the
a shocking
first
twist,
time.
it was Melissa Singh who
Yeah.
was the one trying to keep Tap on track of the games in the asylum.
But she didn't have a choice either.
The reason
so.
she did this is that Jigsaw had her son Franklin held hostage,
Yeah.
and that she had to play his game in order to get him back. Thankfully, Franklin was dropped off at the police station the next morning unharmed. Unfortunately,
Tap.
she made the same mistake her husband made and was killed by a door trigger trap. Tap then returns to the asylum with the police, and they free the rest of the victims that were still trapped and alive in the asylum. So after the death of
Oh yeah, he
Detective
does,
Singh's
doesn't he?
wife, Melissa,
Okay.
Tap went home and he left one final message.
I killed the man in the pig mask back in Whitehurst. Nobody knows that but me. I never even knew who he was. Just figured it was Jigsaw. I never even thought about it until I had to make the choice. Maybe he was a family man. Maybe Jigsaw kidnapped his family. I would do the same thing if Michael was in danger. Even though he won my life, he's still my son. I can't let go of this obsession with Jigsaw. I just can't. We're connected. Me and him. Trying to find him just results in more people getting hurt.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's how this ended. Well, this particular ending.
This is my only solution. My only way out. I've lost everything that matters. Can you
I forgot that's how that ended.
He then later committed suicide.
Yeah.
So with Detective Tapp gone, Jigsaw decided a few weeks later to test a new subject.
The son?
Tapp's
Yeah.
son.
So this is
Michael.
the second game. This is the second video game.
David Tapp's body was discovered by police and his son, Michael Tapp. Michael is then kidnapped by Mark Hoffman. He wakes up in the abandoned Holmes Hotel in a cage right next to Solomon Bates, who was John Kramer's accountant for his previous company,
Okay.
Gideon. Solomon escapes his trap, and Michael is given a second chance. To survive the games, he has to free everyone that was involved with his father's death. And like the reporter
Okay.
he is, he has to investigate his surroundings and find the story of his father's death.
I didn't play all
And
of
that the
this
truth will
one,
set him free.
so I actually don't know
Michael
the story
also
of
has
this
to deal
one.
with several men who were arrested by his dad in the past.
Okay.
Approximately 38 people were kidnapped for this game
Oh, God.
and forced in this game along with
Ooh.
Michael. Not to mention, Jigsaw himself was there observing each of these games.
Okay.
The first victim Michael saves is the police chief, Henry Jacobs. But it is revealed that Chief Jacobs was a part of an underground drug trafficking operation.
Ugh.
The associates involved were police detective Joseph Polzer, who was the
Okay.
muscle, Carla Song, who was a nurse at Dr. Gordon's hospital, who
Oh.
was the supplier, Solomon Bates, who was the bookkeeper,
Was she
and Sarah Bach,
was she Dr.
who was the
Gordon's
drug
mistress?
dealer. However, it turns out Michael himself wasn't so innocent.
Yeah.
He leaked to the press all of his father's collected evidence about Jigsaw and about him not having a warrant to arrest him, which causes his father to lose his job. Despite saving all 5 members of the underground drug cartel, Henry and Joseph make multiple attempts to try and kill Michael all throughout the games. Henry then murders Carla moments after escaping her game, and Joseph murders Sarah after she helped Michael escape the furnace room at the chemical factory.
Okay.
Solomon Bates and Chief Jacobs were both murdered by Mark Hoffman for trying to kill Michael. Michael
Okay.
then manages to fight off Joseph and kill him just outside the abandoned subway station. He then makes one final attempt to go after Jigsaw. But in his final test, Michael is trapped by Jigsaw, and we know now that because he aided dirty cops in their drug cartel for revenge against his father, Detective Tapp, for a life of abandonment, Michael's life would now rest in the sacrifice of a stranger. And that
Okay.
stranger ended up being a man named Campbell Inman,
Okay.
a dying drug dealer tested by Jigsaw to see if he had what it took to see a son.
I'm so
he
sorry
never
about my
knew.
laptop.
Campbell himself also endured vigorous
Oh,
testing,
yeah, this
such
is
as
the guy from the
surviving
beginning.
Venus flytrap
Yeah, okay.
and dodging trap victims looking for their way out.
I was about to say, I
In the
recognised
end,
him.
Campbell chose to live, and that caused Michael Tapp to die.
Oh, okay.
But unfortunately for Campbell, his body was also discovered after trying to attack Jigsaw himself. And thus, the secret Jigsaw games are no more.
Wait, so did he just get smacked
So the
with
good
a
news is
pipe
there
or
were at
something
least
and that was
12
it?
Jigsaw survivors from both games all within the span of a few weeks.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the grand total of Jigsaw-related deaths is 123 victims.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So with 123 deaths all around from each of those 2 games, you just wonder, how many more victims has Jigsaw been responsible for? Well, then tune in next time to find out. As I look
'Cause the
back
ones you're
and
talking about is
recount
just the ones that have
every
been
single
reported in
known
universe.
Jigsaw victim. Keep following me on Twitter and Instagram for more updates. I'm Jacob Walton, and this has been the Jigsaw Vlogs.
Okay, cool. We're gonna go on to the next one and then we'll talk properly.
Jacob, this is James Bell calling you for the 4th time. I'm sick of you not returning my calls or texts.
Sorry, I
I
forgot
know
to,
you're getting these messages.
I forgot to put subtitles
So
on,
we'll get
sorry.
right to the point. Put me in one of your videos. You people in the forums page section of jigsawrules.com can write all that fanfic that you want about John Kramer.
Okay.
But you're all forgetting one thing. This man was a genius when it came to his work. He had the talent for making any everyday ordinary item that people take for granted and implement them to devices of torture. I was there to capture the moments on
Yeah, you got
film,
that Final
and let me
Destination
tell ya,
skill.
if you want big hits and views, you gotta show the good stuff.
Which is what?
You have a golden opportunity here, Jakey. Show Jigsaw's work off to the world. You have access to the full photos of all of Jigsaw's victims. Use them. but I want full credit. Don't forget, it was me who got them on that website all those years ago. I was the one who sent most of the trap victim photos to the organ donor, and I want to be the guy who reminds people of the work John Kramer did.
I don't know if this is a good
If
idea.
you use my photos of the Jigsaw traps and victims, your views will go up. The audience
Yeah,
will
but
want
you'll
to
also
see
be
more,
in
and
danger.
people come to me to see them. It's a win-win. I've even scooped pictures from the latest Jigsaw attacks that have been going on.
Okay.
I don't care if it's John Kramer doing them or not. His work is all that matters. People don't give a damn about who Richard Gatling was, or who he was, or what he believed in.
Okay.
But they remember his invention, the machine gun, a lot more. So call me back.
That's true.
I won't charge you a penny for my valuable time. Just give me 2 minutes to tell my side about Jigsaw's work. And when I'm done, people are going to thank me for reminding them of what John Kramer will be remembered for.
Yeah, but like, okay, so let's pause for a sec. But the thing is like the way he was talking is like, oh, I'm gonna be remembered. Oh, I'm gonna get the credit. Me. You're not really thinking also what has Jacob got. What is Jacob gonna gain from that too? Like, he kept saying, oh yeah, you'll get the photos and you'll get full access and blah blah blah. But he kept like, it felt very one-sided, like a one-sided deal. Also, if you end up, what do you call it? If you end up like giving yourself full credit for evidence that is confidential, because I assume the stuff that Jacob had in the last video was stuff that was just public record in universe again anyway. But if you're doing it where you're going a bit deeper, then Jigsaw's, or whoever is doing the Jigsaw games at the moment, is going to find out, and then not only is Jacob going to be in trouble, but also, what was his name, James? Like, he's going to be in trouble as well. So, do you really want to get more and more people involved? Violet also got involved, and I like that you found a way to include the video games, which I thought was really cool. Granted, I've only played the beginning of like the second one, and with Saw 2, like, I actually really like the first Saw video game. It's not anything amazing, but I think it is quite fun. But the second game, they changed everything about it, like all of the control schemes and everything, and I don't like it, so I didn't get very far into it. So I like the Jacob does like reiterate what the full story of that one is, because I actually don't really know it. But the moment you mentioned Michael Tapp, I was like, oh, so are you going to mention the video games? They're not in universe, they do actually exist in the real world. But the other thing as well is that, okay, yeah, I got confused when he mentioned the insane asylum, because I thought he was referencing, at first I thought he was referencing the video games, but he's referencing the first film, and I assume the second film, because the second film you find out is also set in the same building. So once he mentioned Zepp, I was like, oh, okay, that's what you're talking about. The other people being there in the first video game makes sense. It's the prisoners that got found and taken back to that building, so that all makes sense as well. I feel like I should have done this episode actually with the last video. I think I should have done it with that one, because I didn't realise we were just going to continue on from the last video. Also, what I like as well is Violet mentioning that she's an animator, and then that gives opportunity for Jacob to put in screenshots of the video game cutscenes, and then pass them off as, oh, they're illustrations and artwork from Violet. That was a really creative way and clever way to include them, to include those cutscenes to like further explain the story. I really liked that. I think it was the best sort of way round you could do that as well. So this next one is a bit longer, it's about 23 minutes long, but this and the next video is going to be the last two in this reaction video. This is episode 8, this is called The Trap Victims of Jigsaw. So I imagine it's going to go further into the actual victims themselves. So yeah, let's go. 2nd of... Oh, we're in
Welcome back to the
2019.
Jigsaw blogs. I'm Jacob Wall.
Okay, so a
And
while
today,
has passed.
We're going to look back at all the trap victims that were affected
So in
by the
February.
Jigsaw
Sorry,
killing.
I'm UK. I'm getting
As I
confused on the
stated in the
date
last
format.
video, there were a grand total of 123 victims that were discovered by the 2 games involving the Tapp family.
Okay.
However, it is well documented that Jigsaw had several more victims that failed
Yeah.
their test.
That's the first
Jigsaw
film.
stated that his
Third
intentions were
film.
not to kill his victims, but rather teach them a lesson about appreciating their life.
Fourth.
Having said that,
Sick.
there are over 200 Jigsaw victims that played his game and failed. And we're about to cover just about every one of them.
This is gonna
I
take
will
a
make
while.
one clarification, however. I'm not going to talk about any Jigsaw survivors. They'll get their own video, believe me.
Fair.
And I also won't talk about any cops that were involved trying stopping Jigsaw.
Okay.
Games. They're going to get their own video as well.
Yeah. Otherwise,
You will
you'll
see
be
the
there for
following in this
hours.
video: the victim's name, the traps they were in,
Okay.
and the objectives they were given in order to survive,
Okay.
along with the photos showing the aftermath of their crime scene.
Cool.
Now, I am very aware that there is an audience out there that loves brutality, violence, and gore.
Don't call me
Half
out.
these photos, these walls right here show victims of the
I'm
Jigsaw
joking.
killer. And they've been provided by Jigsaw Rules member from the Trap section, James Bell, who is a photographer.
Oh, he
for
did
video production
okay.
use. He has agreed to let me use and demonstrate
You
these
did
photos
contact
that I'm
each
going to
other
show in this
then.
video. But in exchange, he wants a 1 to 2 minute video explaining why he loves the Jigsaw traps and why Jigsaw is what he is, in his own words. And while I don't agree with him,
No.
while I don't support him, I am going to allow it, just try to be fair, because like I always say, history deserves to hear from both sides.
I mean,
Having
that's
said
fair.
that, here's video production news member James Bell.
It's clear he didn't want.
What's up, everybody? I'm James Bell, VPN's most reliable photographer.
This is going to be really arrogant,
Today, I
isn't
want
it?
to address everyone about the work John Kramer has done. Let's face it. You see, we as a people have become soft, neglectful, and,
Okay.
let's face it, stupid.
Okay.
We need to put faith back in ourselves. But instead, we have people like Jacob who look up to Jigsaw as if he was some kind of prophet who could deliver you wisdom on how to live your life to the
Dude,
fullest.
Jacob invited you to do this.
See, I feel
you
like it's
could
people
be a
like
bit
me
nicer.
whose duty it is to remind you about the kind of man Jigsaw really was. And with these latest Jigsaw attacks going on, people are going to wake up and see John Kramer for what he really was. A master of human torture and a true innovator of violence.
I mean, he's not
Now,
wrong.
I, for one, don't approve of murder. But that's the brilliant thing.
Okay.
Jigsaw doesn't physically kill any of his victims. Instead, these people were given a chance to save themselves, and when they failed, they met with those.
Is that from Saw 11?
I was able to
No,
capture on camera most
5.
of these victims during my findings. And it got to a point where I was so excited to find the next Jigsaw victim just to see whatever torture device John Kramer came up with next.
Well, that and finding the puzzle piece on each victim was always a challenge.
And if you're thinking, but James, these are dead human beings. Why would we
This
enjoy
is such an
looking at
annoying
them?
character. Also,
Yeah.
he's contradicted
Dead
himself.
murderers, criminals, rapists.
He's contradicted himself.
So they deserve it, in my opinion. You're a history buff, Jakey. Tell me. When people look back on Caligula during his reign as the Emperor of Rome, do they remember him for his philosophies? Or do they remember him as the cruel, sadistic tyrant that he was? What about the Catholics of medieval Europe? Or the martyrs of Japan? You're starting to see my point. When people look back on John Kramer, they're going to remember him as one of those historical figures. And the sooner you realize that, the better. So, enjoy the photos. And have a good time recapping the victims for me, okay, Pumpkin?
Guy.
Spoken like a true freshman philosophy major.
They
Anyways,
hate each other.
what you're all about to see may be some disturbing images here. So if you're very squeamish, and
We've
don't
been
want to
seeing
watch,
disturbing
I understand,
images
but
anyway.
For documentation purposes, I'm going to allow it. So viewer discretion is advised. These are the trap victims of Jigsaw.
Oh, okay. That just that just said hi. Yeah, no, sorry. James was really contradictory because at first he was like, oh, Jakey, I know you see Jigsaw as like a master and blah 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 and a prophet, and then literally like a few sentences later he's praising Jigsaw as like the same thing. He's just doing the same thing. But because James, I think, like, obviously character James sees himself as like better than Jacob. He doesn't want to admit that.
Cecil Adams. Trap? Unknown, but involved razor wire. Tested for
Oh
being
yeah,
a
you
drug
wouldn't know
dealer
the other one.
and the murder
Yeah,
of
okay, that
John
makes
Jill's
sense.
unborn child.
You wouldn't know
Gideon.
about the knife chair.
So yeah, this one was personal. Body was discovered
Yeah.
by Detective David Tapp,
Okay.
Ronnie Navarro, and Masaku Ito. Tested in the acid pulley trap. Their objective was to work together to escape a pulley system involving acid. Unfortunately, they
What's
both
this
failed
one?
because they were in rival gangs.
Oh,
Both were
this
burned
is number
alive.
2,
You
yeah.
may not have heard of these two men,
I
but
think.
this is the first time Jigsaw actually used Billy the Puppet. Mark Wilson.
Was it?
Tested
remember.
in the flammable jelly trap. His objective was to try and find a combination to the safe that had
Oh
the
yeah, this one's
antidote to
stupid
the
'cause
poison
it's
in his system.
impossible.
Unfortunately, the combination was written on the walls all around him, and he was only given a small wax candle.
And broken glass on the
Unfortunately,
floor.
it didn't work out for him in the end, as he was burned alive by the candle and the flammable jelly.
Yeah.
Seth Baxter.
Yeah, forgot about this
Tested
guy.
in the pendulum trap.
Mm-hmm.
His objective in the game was to crush his hands to avoid being cut in half by the pendulum blade. He was tested for the murder of Mark Hoffman's sister, Angelina. Paul Lee. Cause of death, trapped in razor wire. Reason for tested, being suicidal for attention.
The thing is
Body
though, they
found
don't make
by
sure Seth
Detective
Baxter
Tapp,
is that.
Singh, Carey, and Hoffman.
Seth actually beat his game, but he was going to die anyway because it was an Amanda trap. No, it was a Mark Hoffman trap.
Your last month, you ran a straight razor across your wrist.
This is from the first film.
Did you cut yourself because you truly wanted to die, or did you just want some attention? Tonight, it will show me.
Donnie Greco.
First film.
Cause of death, stabbed repeatedly in the stomach by Amanda Young. Reason for test, being a well-known drug dealer. Body discovered by Detective Singh, Tapp, and Hoffman.
Wasn't this guy the
There was
film's
some confusion
producer
whether
or
not this man was
something?
given a chance to live and die, but he failed his own test before Amanda's game, and that's why he was placed in it the way he was.
Okay.
The bathroom game is probably arguably one of the most important Jigsaw games ever recorded.
This is a very
because
close-up
this is the game where
shot.
Jigsaw killed himself front and center. Victims in the bathroom game were Lawrence Gordon and Adam Stanhide.
Yeah.
The objective for Adam was to escape the bathroom
Adam,
without
I
having Dr.
refuse to
Lawrence
believe
Gordon
you're
trying
dead.
to kill him in order to save his family. Victims of
No,
the
I'm joking.
Whitehurst Insane Asylum. As stated in my last video, there were 87 victims of the Jigsaw Killer.
Okay.
Most notably, these victims included Melissa Singh, Oswald McGillicuddy, and Jeff Ridenour, who survived his game but committed suicide 2 days later.
Yeah.
Another notable name that was killed at Whitehurst Insane Asylum was Alex Henson, whose cause of death was by falling into a pile of lawnmower blades that were being run
Oh,
while being
this
tested with his
one.
girlfriend, Sydney Bristow.
Yeah, this one was weird.
Both victims were given a choice. Only one person's weight could stay on the chain to hold them up, and the decision rested upon them. Cindy fought for her life and caused Alex to fall to his death.
Yeah, this one was a weird
Dina
trap. This is
Meyer.
Saw 3D.
Tested in the public trap. Dina was cut in half by a table saw after being tested for being
No, I'll
in a
say
toxic
afterwards.
relationship with their then boyfriends, Brad Turner and Ryan Reed. Victims
So it's
in the
for Saw
Holmes
3D?
Hotel and chemical plants.
Yeah, is
As
this Saw
stated in my other
3?
video, there were 36 victims in these games, including
Oh
Campbell
no, this is
Inman,
the video game.
Michael Tapp, Carla Song,
Yeah.
Henry Jacobs, Joseph Polzer, Sarah Pollock, and Solomon Bates.
It was a lot.
Michael Marks, tested in the Venus flytrap. Michael was given 60 seconds to
yeah, this
remove
one.
a key out from under his eyeball in order to free himself from the Venus flytrap. Body was discovered by Detective Carey and Eric Matthews.
Yeah.
The Gas House games is considered by a lot of Jigsaw rules fans as one of the most brutal games ever recorded. Here are the rules
This is Saw
of the
2,
nerve gas
isn't it?
house.
Yeah.
The Jigsaw victims were given 2 hours to find an antidote to a deadly nerve gas poison. To get an antidote, they had to pass one of Jigsaw's deadly games. These victims include Amanda Young, Daniel Matthews, Gus Colliard, Obie Tate,
Okay, Gus
Laura
Colliard was the
Hunter,
one I got
Jonas
confused
Singer,
with earlier.
Addison Corday,
So, yeah, I
and
got
Xavier
confused.
Chavez. The only 2 survivors
Xavier.
were Daniel Matthews and Amanda Young. The following is based upon Daniel's testimony, and the video footage is from the house itself. Gus Colliard, shot in the head by the door trigger trap.
Yeah, because he wasn't paying
Obie
attention.
Tate was burned alive in the furnace trap
Yeah,
while
this
trying to
was a brutal
retrieve an
one.
antidote, but failed to turn the heat off when he was given the chance to. Laura Hunter died when the poison got a hold of her body and took its full effect.
Yeah.
Jonas Singer, murdered by Xavier Chavez with a nail bat to the back of his head. Addison Corday.
Yeah, this one was horrible as well.
According to Daniel, he heard her scream like bloody murder and assumed she died either from a jigsaw trap or being murdered by Xavier Chavez.
Yeah, that
Xavier
wasn't
Chavez,
technically the
murdered
case.
by Daniel Matthews in the bathroom in self-defense.
She was just left there to die because she fucked
Daniel
up.
also clarified that the
Well, she messed
bodies
up her
of Zepp
trap.
Pendle and Adam Steinheit were also discovered in the bathroom. Troy Baker, tested in
Troy
the chain
Baker?
trap in the school classroom.
Well, like the voice actor?
Troy was given time to escape his trap after unhooking himself from the chains from his body in order
Oh yeah,
to
this
escape
one
the
was
nail bomb
horrible as
in
well.
the
But this
room.
one was unwinnable.
Unfortunately, he ran out of time.
He couldn't get out anyway.
With Jigsaw on death's door, he and his apprentices had 2 final games in plan. One for grieving father Jeff Denlin, and the other for SWAT officer Rick.
I
For
thought you
Jeff's
were going to
game,
mention
he
the
was
fact that
tested
the
to
door was
forgive
wielded
victims that had
shut
done him wrong in the past.
with Troy's trap.
These victims include
Interesting.
Danica Scott, who was tested in the freezer trap room. She was frozen to death
Yeah.
after Jeff couldn't retrieve the key in time to save her. Judge
He took his
Alden,
time.
who survived a pig vat trap, but unfortunately was killed by a gunshot wound to the head in the next trap, which was for Timothy Young.
Oh, this is who he is.
Timothy Young
okay.
was tested
I
in
can remember who
Jigsaw's
he was.
personal favorite trap, the rack. Cause
This
of
is
death,
brutal.
cervical trauma, along with his legs and arms and head twisted 180 degrees.
Ugh.
Timothy was tested for the murder of Jeff's young son, Dylan. In the end, Jeff was able to take his vengeance out on Jigsaw and Amanda Young, but was unable to save his wife, Dr. Lynn Denlin,
Yeah, because
who
Jeff
died
is a stupid
in the
moron.
shock collar trap. Jeff himself was also later murdered by Agent Strong. Trevor Rustin, body discovered in the mausoleum trap. His objective was playing the game with Art Blank, an old school take
Oh, this
of
one,
see
yeah.
no evil, hear no evil. Trevor was killed by Art Blank in self-defense
Yeah.
with a head bludgeon and hit 4 times in the head with a ball peen hammer.
Okay.
Art Blank escapes and continues his next test.
Yep.
For SWAT officer Daniel Rigg, his game was trying to be tested in order to let go of everyone he's been trying to save.
I'm
and
so
allow
sorry
people
about my
to take their
laptop,
own
by the way.
responsibility and save themselves. Rigg was given 2 hours to learn these lessons in order to save Eric Matthews and Mark Hoffman. These victims include Brenda Taylor, who
Oh, the
survived
scalping,
the
yeah.
hair trap, but was later killed by Rigg in self-defense.
Yep.
Ivan Landis
I mean,
was
deserved.
tested in the bedroom trap. His objective was to gouge out his own eyes in order to escape.
Deserved.
However, he couldn't make the choice in time, and his body was dismembered by the trap itself. Rex Tillman,
Oh,
tested
this
along
one. I
with his
forgot about
wife,
this one.
Morgan, in the spike trap.
Yeah, I forgot about
Morgan
that one.
survived the test by pulling the spikes out of her body. However, Rex was impaled through major arteries by the rods that she later removed. At the end of the game, Rigg failed in saving Eric Matthews, Art Blank, Mark Hoffman, and even himself.
Yeah.
More on that in another video.
Because he didn't just wait and
seemingly
think.
Mark Hoffman was the only one in charge, and thus set up the game called the Fatal Five. The reason why these victims were tested by
So
Mark
this is now
Hoffman
Saw
is
5,
because they were
yeah.
responsible for an arson crime that took the lives of 8 people. These victims include Ashley Calzone, Charles Solomon,
Yeah.
Luba Gibbs, Malik Scott, and Britt Stevenson. Ashley was decapitated by a collar trap in which the 5 victims were forced to retrieve a single key that freed themselves.
Okay.
Charles was incinerated by a nail bomb trap after failing to escape the ceiling jar trap.
Yeah, because he was stupid.
Luba Gibbs was murdered by Britt Stevenson in order to escape the bathroom trap, in which 5 cables were hooked into each of her limbs in order to escape the room. Only Britt Stevenson and Malik Scott survived the game after cutting their hands in half, donated 10 pints of blood in order to escape the final room.
I mean, yeah, Britt
Eddie
technically
Benson.
survived.
Trap, Pound of Flesh
Pardon me.
with Simone Howard. The objective of the
Oh,
game was
this
the
one's
victim
awful.
who donated the most pounds of flesh
This
got to
one's
survive.
horrific.
The loser of the game was killed by having the device drill screws into their heads. Fortunately for Simone, she gave her left arm in order to survive, but bad news for Eddie, he did not make it,
Yeah, he went
and he was
bye-bye.
killed by severe brain trauma with screws drilled into his temples.
Yeah.
Our next Jigsaw
Yeah, that
game
was
focuses
horrible.
on the people who work for the Umbrella Health Organization. And I don't think having insurance helped any of these people in the end.
No, it didn't.
The main player of the Umbrella Health Corporation games was CEO
Hey, my
William
favorite
Easton.
Saw film.
Turns out William
Number
was
6.
the one that denied John Kramer health coverage for when he had his frontal lobe tumor. Hank Stratman. Tested in the oxygen crusher trap.
One of my favorite traps.
The objective of the game was a test between Hank Stratman and William Easton to see who could hold their breath the longest. Hank, being a smoker for years, failed this test and was crushed by having his ribs caved in.
Yeah.
Alan Jones. Tested in the barbed wire hanging trap.
Yeah.
Along with his assistant, Addie Wilson, William was given the choice either save Alan or save Addie.
I apologise if
William
my
went against
microphone
his
picks
own
up any
policy
weird
and
noises.
chose
It's
to
suddenly
save
got very
Addie,
loud outside.
despite of her bad health.
I don't know
Alan
what's
was
going
dropped by the
on.
platform and hung by a barbed wire noose.
It's a
Debbie
very loud
Kane.
helicopter.
Tested in the steam
So
room
I do
maze
apologise
trap.
for that.
Debbie was given the chance to survive the
Steam
steam
room.
room with
Oh,
the help
this
of William,
one.
but she was given 60 seconds
This one was cool.
to free herself from the spike trap with the key hidden inside William's body. She failed, and the spike pierced her brain. The carousel trap. This trap was designed for members
One
of
of the
William's
best.
dog pit. Since 2/3 of all applications were denied by the dog pit, 2/3 of them would die in the carousel
Yeah.
trap.
Just like the system.
These victims include Dave Winslow, Gina Rosner, Aaron Roberts, and Josh Myers. The only victims William chose to save were Emily Gomes and Shelby Jones. And in William's final game, he was tested by the Abbott family, which included Tara and Brent. Unfortunately for William, Harold
Yeah.
Abbott's son, Brent, chose for him to die in the hydrofluoric acid trap,
Which was
and thus
gross.
William was melted alive. Jill Tuck later admitted to police that during the William Easton game, she tested Mark Hoffman in the reverse bear trap, but
'cause that was
unfortunately
happening
for
at the same
Jill,
time.
Hoffman escaped. So Hoffman spent the next several months planning to find a way to abduct and kill Jill Tuck. So he needed to come up with a game on his own. In order to go after Jill Tuck, Hoffman set up another game that involved a lot of horsepower. The car traps.
I
Victims in
just
the
got
car
the
trap
pun.
tested by Mark Hoffman included Evan Bennington, Kara
Oh.
Heck, Dan Hepner, and Jake Barton. Evan, being the leader of the group and a known racist, was given the choice to free himself by ungluing himself from the seat and pulling the lever to free himself in order to save all his friends. Unfortunately, he ran out of time, and it caused a domino effect, killing all 4 in the process.
Yeah.
And the final Jigsaw game that was set up by Mark Hoffman was known as the Survive game, which focused on Jigsaw self-help guru Bobby
So
Dagan.
this is Saw 3D.
Bobby Dagan was forced to go through several trials in order to save all of his friends. The first victim that fell was Nina White,
Oh, again,
who
one
was
of the best
tested
traps.
in the silent circle.
One of the best ones.
Bobby was given 1 minute to retrieve a key that was tangled down a fish hook in Nina's stomach in order to free her.
Yeah.
But Nina had to stay silent. With a fishing hook down her throat, that task was almost impossible.
Yep.
Suzanne Brooks. who was tested in the impalement wheel trap. The objective for Bobby was to hold the circuits together to close the gap to stop the wheel from turning. Unfortunately for Bobby, he ran out of time and Suzanne was impaled. Cale Armstrong. Tested in the deafening mask trap. Bobby was given some time to retrieve a key in order to get the Cale, but unfortunately for Cale, he was blindfolded and hung by a noose. Bobby failed to give Cale the key in time, and he was hung for his trouble. Joyce Dagan. Tested in the Brazen Bull trap.
Yeah, this one
Bobby
was
was given the
undeserved.
choice to relive the trap that he imagined in his games by piercing the hooks into his chest and trying to connect the extension cords 20 feet in the air in order to stop the Brazen Bull from going off and killing his wife. Bobby went all the way up to the top, but his pectoral muscles gave way, causing him to fall and causing his wife to be burned alive.
Yeah, she shouldn't have
Jill
gone though.
Tuck.
She shouldn't have died. That was
After murdering
was
dozens of
undeserved.
police officers, Mark Hoffman found a way to get the Jill Tuck in the police station and place the reverse bear trap on Jill Tuck, giving her no chance to survive the game.
Yeah.
Jill's body was discovered in the aftermath of the reverse bear trap. Most of these victims on this wall right here are declared missing, but they're more likely dead, since their bodies were never recovered. These 4 people right here all went missing at the same time. Could they be Jigsaw related? Potentially. I guess we'll have to wait and see. These other victims that were missing include Anna Campbell,
Okay.
John's former neighbor, Carly Allen, one of Jill Tuck's first drug clinic
Oh, this is
attendees,
Jigsaw, isn't it?
Ryan Andrews,
Yeah, this is
who was
Jigsaw.
accused of murdering members of John's family in a car accident, and Mitch Butler, who was accused of selling John's nephew a failed motorbike accident which caused his death. So with Jigsaw having been credited for testing over 200 people, there had to have been some survivors, right? Well, in fact, there are. Tune into my next video as we
And that'll
go
probably
over
be the next
each
video.
Jigsaw survivor and where they are and what they've been up to.
Cool.
Be sure to follow me on Twitter as well as on my Instagram account. I'm Jacob Walton, and
What is that
this has been
noise?
Gosh dang it.
Are you phone? Oh wait, is it
Care
bad?
about your stupid doctor's appointments.
Is it bad?
Tell me that every day. Just take it back from the top, re-edit that post. Ready?
I'm not doing the edit.
Be sure to follow me on Twitter and
I'm not
Instagram
doing that
for more
edit.
updates. I'm Jacob Walton, and this has been the Jigsaw Vlogs. Okay. Dang it, Mom, now I have to re-edit because of you.
I do that sometimes.
Mr. Walton, this is Timothy Blake. I
Okay.
just received your email, and I'm honored, and I appreciate your kind words and support for my book.
Oh,
I'm doing well, all things considered,
Interesting.
and I'm going to be earning my master's degree in psychiatry next year. I plan on
Cool.
using my books on John Kramer as a huge part of my thesis. I've also heard that there have been more multiple Jigsaw-like attacks striking back up in our city, and if I'm honest, it doesn't really surprise me. This type of violence Jigsaw procured was bound to have other people try and copy him. I do worry that any hopeful surviving victims will be given the same chance to rehabilitate. I've
Okay.
studied for years the trauma and psychological effects Jigsaw survivors went through, and I fully believe that it's because they survived that we properly see the full motivation for John Kramer's work. He gives people a chance to reevaluate their lives and change them for the better. Of course, if you read my book, you would know that that wasn't always the case for some of them. Now, as far as me doing that interview you requested, I have no problem with it. Just make sure you get a chance to plug my books is all.
yeah, fair.
Who knows? This might give me the inspiration I'm looking for to write another book about how the impact of John's work has all these years later. Anyways,
Well, there could be good
please
leeway into
contact
it.
my office between the hours of 4 and 5 p.m. every Monday to Friday, and we'll set a date. You have a good day, Mr. Walton.
Okay, so he was a lot more pleasant than the last guy. He was a lot more pleasant than the last guy. Let's start from the first evidence video we watched. James Bell is a bit contradictory. Obviously, I'm talking about the actual characters in universe, so, you know, not talking about the actors, talking about the characters. James seems very arrogant, contradictory, Like, he says at the beginning, he's like, oh, you seem to think him as like a like a prophet and blah blah blah, but then literally like 2 seconds later he's kind of doing the same thing, which is interesting. It's like, oh, okay. So you're a bit up your own butt. I think this guy seemed a lot more nice and a lot more willing, but obviously him having the book credit, then the credit and stuff, that makes a lot of sense that he'd want to get that out. I don't have too much to say on the other video, the actual like trapped victims video. I don't have too much to say on that. I think the only thing I'm going to say is, yeah, I got confused when he mentioned the 2 people with the acid pulley trap, because I thought one of them was Gus from the second film who gets shot in the head when he looks through the keyhole. I thought that was him, so I got really confused. I don't know who those 2 were though, but Jacob did mention in the video that these are like lesser known ones, weren't really reported, so I'm guessing they're just, I don't know, like a made up one or something. I'm not entirely sure, so I do apologise for that. The other ones about them, the missing victims, were all from the film Jigsaw, so it does make sense that people wouldn't know about that and know why they're missing, because it wasn't actually a reported one. On that note, I think with most of this it does make sense with how Jacob would have got, like, how he would have been able to do these videos and get the reports and stuff, because I imagine a lot of these kind of things by this point in time, you know, in this timeline, by this point Jigsaw is dead, so a lot of these reports would have been made public record, so it makes sense that he would have hold of that information. But there was a couple of photos, especially with Source 6 and the photos in health insurance office, Umbrella Health Insurance, like the photos didn't really make sense to be there, but I get you have to have photos of these characters for this to work, so I get that, but there was a few things where I'm like, okay, how realistically, like in universe, how would you have got that? But most of it kind of actually still works and still makes sense to have that. I think also Jacob, the way he delivers his lines, there's a couple of times where he sort of hesitates or like stutters a little bit. I quite like that, because I think the whole narrative is Jacob as a character filming this series in his house, just having a big obsession with Jigsaw, but it makes sense for him to have these occasional like hesitations or stutters, because yeah, he's reading off a script, but in universe he's reading off a script, so it kind of still works. The one more thing I want to mention is the end of episode 8, where his mum like messages him or rings him. He keeps saying, oh, yeah, no, stop messaging me, stop calling me about your appointments, I know you have them, blah, blah, blah. I can't help but feel like that's going to be something else. Because again, with James's thing of being like, oh, I want credit for the photos, oh, I want credit for this, and the author also saying the same thing, I feel like eventually they're going to reveal too much, and you're getting more and more people involved in the Jigsaw project and the Jigsaw blogs, that it is going to bite you in the butt. It is going to backfire and cause a lot of problems. So I have a weird feeling that there was a specific reason why that was in there. Or, like I said about the stuttering and the hesitation, the other side of it could be it's there to remind you, yeah, this is just a guy doing this project in his basement, in his house, and while he's recording, realistically you do get interruptions sometimes, and that's all it could be. But I don't know if it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be that. But yeah, I don't know when my next reaction video for this is going to be. Like I said right at the beginning, this does take me a while to record. This is quite a long recording session for me, so I don't know when the next one's going to be, but hopefully December, otherwise it'll be next year now. But yeah, we'll see. But I'll put the Jigsaw Blogs playlist in the video description down below, so you guys can go off and watch this for yourselves without me talking. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye!